What is going on? This is the Bleeding Birdie podcast. I am your host, Jesse Martin. It is April 6th, 2021. This is episode Unlucky 13. I am with my co-host, Keith Gray. Keith, what is going on, my man? How you doing?
Good, man. Good, man. Just excited about doing tonight's episode. I know it's a little bit different than having guests and talking about draft, even though I know we're going to talk a little bit about the draft, but doing good, man. Just a tiny bit, but yeah, doing well, man. Doing well.
Yeah, and speaking of the draft, this is probably going to be it because we are going to change things up a little bit. The news of the day is that the Atlanta Falcons is opening their phone lines and wanting to trade their number 4 overall pick. And as you would imagine, Twitter has blown up and everybody wants to throw the fucking kingdom to the Falcons for that fucking pick. And I got an issue with this. Okay. I've had an issue with this trading up for a while. Not to say that I'm against it, because I'm not, but people are demanding Washington to sell the farm for this pick. And guess what? If they're going to do it, fine. I'm happy with that. But they're only going to do it if they have their guy. If they know that one of those quarterbacks is at least an 85 to 90% chance sure that they're going to be the franchise guy. If not, you're just throwing fucking darts at a goddamn fucking dartboard. Yeah, I'm a little pissed off right now because I'm sick of fucking seeing this shit every fucking day. And it has, I'm over it, man. I am fucking over it, and I'm hot, and I'm pissed off. If Ron Rivera, if they find their guy, they're going to go up and try to get their guy. If there's not, shut the fuck up. Period. All right, Keith.
So Jesse, let me ask you this.
Jesus Christ.
Let me ask you this. Everyone's assuming that the trade up would be for a quarterback. What is your opinion on, obviously at the 4 spot, it's projected that Pitts could go there, right? And I'm not going to sit here and act like I think this man is a dominant man, but I've read up on some information enough to know that he's a high caliber tight end. He is a difference maker. He's a playmaker. He is I hate this fucking word, generational talent.
We heard that so much last year, man.
Jesus Christ, man. Anyways, maybe Washington's thinking about trading up for a tight end. You think that's possible? I mean, look, everyone's saying, do it for the quarterback, right? But hear me out.
Sure.
You're willing. Okay, a lot of these people are willing. We obviously have no idea what the team's doing, but people are willing to trade the farm to get their quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
A quarterback that we're uncertain that they're going to be productive. There's really no true generational talent at quarterback in this draft except for the number 1 pick. Okay. Mm-hmm. After that, in my opinion, it's a crapshoot.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you 100%.
Okay. Why do we need to trade for a quarterback? Why not trade? And it's a position that, yes, you're having to give up draft picks to get a higher draft pick, and I understand that, but maybe you don't have to give as much as you would because your target is not a quarterback. Now, maybe Atlanta doesn't care about that either, right? Maybe Atlanta's gonna no, we're still gonna rake your ass under the fire. Sure. Sure. I mean, that could happen, but I almost feel like we got a crapshoot at a potential quarterback, right? If we're even thinking of trading up, why not trade up for someone that we know that's going to be dominant for years to come? And that could be at that tight end position. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And I tend to, I'm okay with that. But obviously I wouldn't give no more than this year's first, obviously, and next year's first for a skill position player. I don't care who it is. You're talking about apples and oranges when it's coming to quarterbacks and a different position, no matter what it is. Obviously, a tight end. Kyle Pitts is amazing, man. I would love for him to be on this team. Obviously, he's 99% chance not going to happen, but I would be willing to give up something to go up and get a caliber player like that. But I'm not going to give up an amount that it would take to move up to get a quarterback amount. If that makes sense, it probably didn't make sense, but and Atlanta knows that too. I
was going to say, which Atlanta probably wouldn't accept our offer, because there may be someone, another team that is willing to give up, willing to be raked in the ass.
Exactly. But I'm not opposed to giving up some assets to go get a player that they want, but I'm not giving them multiple first round picks. That's just it's not going to happen. I mean, I would consider multiple first round picks for a quarterback that, if my coach believes there's a very good chance that he could be our franchise quarterback, I'm fine with that. Go get your man, but
I just think the problem that we run into at that quarterback position is there's really no way to tell.
There's not, right? Unfortunately, there's not.
So are you going to give up assets to draft a guy that you're not 100% sure on, when you could have those same sentiments for round 3,
Sure.
If a quarterback is available? I mean, Newman, Mond, it's all been talked about. It's like, I mean, if you're going to do crapshoot that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, like the rant that I went on, if they target, they got their guy and their guys available, go get it. Okay. I'm not going to come down too hard, on them for that. Obviously we all want our franchise quarterback, but when you're coming to any other position on the field, and it doesn't matter what position we're talking about, if they target a guy that they really want on their team, I don't mind giving up something, but I'm not willing to give up an exuberant amount. I'm not going to set 2-3 first round draft picks, just for a skill position. And right. Yes, Kyle Pitts is a position of need. And he would be dynamic in this offense paired with our other, Terry and Curtis and Gibson. But I'm not giving 3 first round picks. And that's how much it would cost from us to get up from 19 all the way down to 4. That's just because Atlanta's going to have other offers,
Correct. And those offers will definitely be better if Washington was, to offer. We don't even know that they're interested in that. This is all fan speculation, on Twitter. I had another question I wanted to ask in regards to that, but maybe if it comes to me later, I'll just ask it out of nowhere.
Sure. Well, let's move on now. So like we said earlier in the pod, that we are going to change things up a little bit. Keith came up with the idea that we should take our top 5 moments in Redskins / Washington football history, our best moments as fans and our worst moments as fans, and we're going to kind of rank them. We both have a top 5, so we're going to start with the best moments. Now, Keith, you have your list. Give me your number 5 ranked best moment as a Washington Redskins fan.
Number 5 for me, and a lot of people probably don't even remember this play, but for me, it was more situational because, I was living in Florida at the time. My dad was diagnosed with cancer. This game was towards I think it was like October, November. He was bedridden, and I would come home every Sunday, and we would, watch a game. And this was one of the best weeks that he was feeling good to where, he could talk, and just not be in pain, basically. And so my number 5 moment is more personal to me, and other people would be like, huh? But number 5, Santana Moss catching a touchdown pass from Mark Brunell in overtime against Jacksonville in 2006 to win the game.
Nice.
Like I said, that one there was, again, not many people would remember, but that was and when I say that was the last moment that I had with my dad to where he could even watch a game and understand what was going on. That was our last moments together. So that will always be a top 5 best moment for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I sorry about your dad. And those moments, I have some, and I'm going to talk about it with my grandfather. So I know exactly how those moments feel. Good number 5. My number 5. I didn't necessarily go rank these on plays. I kind of ranked these on situations of what happened. And I'm going with the RG3 year, 2012, as a moment that just re-energized this franchise, brought people together. We were just down in the dumps, just searching for something. And here comes RG3. And obviously we know how well it worked out, but in that moment right there, it felt good for me. It felt good for my family. And we were proud to be Washington fans. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've always been proud. I don't care how bad we stink up the fucking joint, but just that year as a whole, there was so much potential coming off that year. And unfortunately it didn't work out, but it still was a good moment. And I will always cherish it for the rest of my life.
So what's interesting about that, Jesse, is that was 2012 was the first year that I moved from Florida to New Jersey. And I said to myself, if I moved to New Jersey, I knew that I was only going to be about 2.5 hours away, that this was my opportunity in life to enjoy sports, enjoy Redskins football, and be able to actually attend games. And of course, we all know the hype that RG3 brought, that the media brought for him. I actually had been living here, I think 3 months before I decided to make a big boy move and drive. I actually went to that draft. I was all in for that. Nice. All in. I even had an RG3 2DC shirt that I was wearing, at the stadium. People were asking me where I got that from. And just, there were a lot of people there, man. And let me tell you, being at the stadium during that draft, when he was selected, you could just see the excitement with the fans. I mean, as we were all leaving, because after the number 2 pick, there's kind of really no reason to stay unless you're an actual draft guru. Then sure, you could stay and watch the top 10. But it was more about talking with the fans that were there. And that was definitely, which is weird because I don't have any RG3 moment. Everyone knows how much I stand for him. Still do, right? But not as bad as, when he was, actually a Redskin. So definitely not on my moment. And I'm actually shocking myself because the guy I hate the most is actually my number 4.
Oh, wow. Go ahead with your number 4.
I couldn't deny it, man. That Kirk Cousins comeback against the Bucks.
Oh, that was you liked that, didn't you? You liked that, didn't you?
Fuck that guy. All right. First of all, Kirk Cousins is a straight up fraud. I tried telling everyone he was a fraud. I know you were a Kirk Cousins lover, weren't you? I knew it. I
wanted to sign. I thought Allen was dumb for bullshitting him around. He should still not still be a Redskin, but I was upset that they didn't sign. We wanted a quarterback and we had one.
Kirk Cousins could throw stats. He was not a natural born winner. He just couldn't do it. I saw it from the beginning.
We never gave him a defense around here either, Harvey.
Oh, stop it. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't always have the best wide receivers or running back either. So let's just
even Duke thinks you're full of shit. My dog. Go ahead. I'm just messing with you.
I love you, Duke, but I'll fight you. But I can't deny it. I mean, I again, sitting at the bar, right? Sitting at the bar by myself at this game, laughing my ass off on Twitter about how Kirk Cousins sucks and just laughing about how embarrassing this game was for them to turn around and come back and win. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the win more than I got flamed on Twitter for it. Yeah. So I have to say, man, that was a great comeback. And I haven't witnessed anything like that in a long time. So sadly, I had to be a man about my list and put Kirk Trash Cousins on it.
Well,
number
good for
4.
you. Good for you. I'm glad you got to eat a little bit of crow during those Kirk Cousin years
He's
there.
still trash.
My number 4. What? Go ahead. What'd you say?
He's still trash. You like trash? Trash?
My number 4 moment was when Joe Gibbs returned to the Redskins. Okay.
Nice.
This was, I mean, we were in purgatory, man. I mean, straight up purgatory. And a little known fact is, and actually I heard this the other day, that it was Dwight Scharr who actually talked Joe Gibbs into coming back to coach. They were on some charity board together, and he called up Joe Gibbs and then made the introduction to Daniel Snyder or whatnot. And Joe Gibbs came back. And, at that time we felt like we were getting the best coach in NFL's history, coming back to coach us, at that time. I mean, Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. You can't say that. You couldn't say that about anybody else. But I mean, the just jubilation of that feeling when we found out that he was coming back, that meant everything, man. That was just such a good feeling. I mean, unfortunately, didn't work out. Didn't bring no more Super Bowls to us, but it still was a very proud moment in my Redskin fandom. Yeah,
I could definitely see that being a moment. I remember when that happened, of course we were all excited. At the end of the day, it brought us hope. And again, not much came out of it. I think it was a different game than, what Joe was used to.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to judge, to say that he was a good coach, bad coach during that time frame. It's just more of, you're seeing an icon coming back. Somebody who's been good to your franchise for years, winning those Super Bowls. Sure. I definitely deserves to be in a top 5.
Yep. So, what's your number 3 moment?
Number 3. It was actually the last game that the Redskins, under the Redskins name, versus Dallas at FedEx back in 2018. I was actually there for that game. It was my first Redskins Dallas game ever seen live.
Oh, wow.
So I was happy to be there, and Skins won 20-17.
Nice.
The outcome of the game was super exciting. Thought it was going to go to overtime. It didn't. Just a all around great game.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. On to number 3 for me. Speaking of Joe Gibbs, as my number 4, my number 3 was the final, the playoff run that he went in his final year. We were 5-7. Then we went on a 4-0 run to make the playoffs, and it was obviously, well, we all know, he just circumstances of his retirement. We blew out the Cowboys in that final Week 17 game to clinch a playoff berth, and that was looking back. We didn't. I don't think anybody knew that he was going to retire after the season. I think he still had another year on his contract, I believe. But it definitely was a special moment, and it was a special run that year.
Cool. I've got nothing to say on that one. That's what makes these fun.
Yeah.
I had no idea what you were going to say, but we both have, definitely different thoughts on, what we feel, which top 5 doesn't even do it. I mean,
man, I could go on for sure. I get a top 1,000 probably.
Sure.
Seriously.
It was actually really hard to rank these.
It was. It seriously is. It really is.
Number 2.
You're number 2.
Number 2. I know you'll know this one. Everyone does. that Santana Moss miracle game
Oh,
against the Cowboys.
It was on a different piece of paper. I scratched it out though, man. Hell yes.
Listen, when you can remember where you're at and what you're doing,
Yeah.
like when something significant happens, current event wise, we always remember where we're at.
Mhm.
This one here, I was sulking in my man cave garage back in Florida. Duke, cut
Shut
that
up, Duke.
shit out, Duke. Shut up. All right. If my dog was in here, he'd be doing the same. Duke, we are trying to run a professional podcast, sir.
Yeah. So keep your mouth shut. Jesus. All right, go ahead.
So long story short on this one, I was actually in my garage. I had a man cave set up, the whole 9 yards, and I was just sitting there embarrassed as hell. And then, of course, here it comes, the fourth quarter, the end. And I mean, honestly, we weren't down by much, but at this point, we had nothing going all game. What's going to make you think that this miracle can happen? But it actually does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we win that game. And to be honest, it was super excited. It was probably one of the happiest moments that I had because, one, it was against Dallas. Two, though they were the same plays to the same player, just crazy scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard to brag on it because it was like, I mean, we barely won. I mean, we were looking bad all game, but that's got to be number 2 in my top 5.
No, I love it, man. That game was fantastic, and one of the best things. It was against those ugly ass uniforms that Dallas wore. Those were fucking hideous.
What was it? It was the
It's like the white helmet, I think.
Or not white helmet, but was it the white helmet?
I think so. It was the white helmet and all dark star, I think, or maybe it was. I don't know. It was just.
I don't remember.
Hideous. It was hideous.
The picture I have is black and white, so it doesn't fucking help.
Oh.
Yeah. So definitely number 2.
No, that was an awesome game. That was Santana just lit it up, man. It was fantastic. I remember that game wholeheartedly. We were eating shit. It was kind of a boring game until the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yep.
My number 2 was way back in 1987, Super Bowl 22. Doug Williams won the MVP, and the reason why this was such a memorable moment for me is because
how old were you?
I was 6, 7, something like that. No, okay. Yeah, 7.
We're around the same age, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My parents really pissed me off. They were going to a Super Bowl party and they sent me to fucking babysitters, right? I was fucking livid. All right. The babysitters, she had 6 other kids with them, but it was in an apartment complex or townhomes. But the next door neighbor had the game on. He had a big TV, right? It was one of those big old projector TVs, and his window was open. I kept sneaking outside to go watch the game. Right, I was in my pajamas. I kept getting in trouble because the porches were they connected together. So I'd go and I'd be peeping at his window, and I watched basically the whole entire game through that window. But I mean, Doug Williams, first African American quarterback to win the Super Bowl. I mean, he scored 28 points in the second quarter alone, I think it was. Yeah. And Art Monk and Gary Clark. Gary Clark's my all-time favorite Redskin. They both had 7 catches, and I think Gary Clark had 112 yards. Wait, no, I'm getting my facts straight up. Anyways, yeah, no, it was, I think it was just, it was a great moment, nonetheless. I remember I've watched that on VHS back. And if you don't know what VHS is, it was our DVD player years and years ago. But I watched that game so much that I broke the actual tape.
If people don't know what a VHS is, your young ass shouldn't even be following me on Twitter. Go unfollow.
No shit.
I don't even want to go to jail for talking to your young ass. You young ass assholes don't know who VHSs are. Fuck out of here.
But even though I was young, it still had a great impact on me.
So that's interesting because I remember, I was around that same age. We were living in Germany at the time. Dad was in the military. In Germany, there legitimately was only 3 channels. They played the news, they played MASH, which I fucking hate that show. Love the military, but MASH can kiss my ass because that shit was so boring because it was on all the time. And the other was 4 Sports, believe it or not. And only thing I ever remember was being down in the living room and hearing my dad jump up screaming touchdown.
Yeah.
Obviously, I knew that was a good thing, by his excitement. But to be honest, I really had no idea what was going on except for it was a Super Bowl. And it was important to my dad, which honestly, remembering that and knowing what that felt like, that honestly got me to start to pay attention to football at a young age.
Yeah.
And to start liking it and learning it, and going from there. So good call on that one.
Yeah.
Which now we're down to number one, Jesse. Number one.
All right. What's your moment? What's your favorite moment as a fan?
Super Bowl 26. Got to go with it.
You son of a bitch. That's my number one too. Go ahead. Well, go ahead.
In the grand scheme of things, Super Bowl 26 was my favorite moment. And that season, obviously going 14-2 was an amazing, to be a Redskins fan. I was not living. My dad had retired from the military, decided that we were going to move to Missouri. He was actually in Desert Storm during the season, came home in time and was actually able to watch the Super Bowl. Like I said, he retired. We moved to Missouri, watching the game at the house, just him and I, watching them win the Super Bowl, getting to talk to him about the season and a lot of the things that sadly he got to miss because he was in Desert Storm.
Yeah.
But having that exact moment with my dad was probably the most amazing experience for me, because I now know what that feeling was like from the Doug Williams Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got to experience what that was like, and to do that with him. Because, a lot of people are like, damn, this dude must have really loved his dad. And there's nothing wrong with me loving my dad, right? I'm not making fun of that.
No.
But when he was gone all the time, okay, he was military, 20 years of his life. I didn't get a whole lot of father-son, bonding. But I'm not here to play the fiddle and have anyone feel sorry for me, because some folks don't even have dads. So I get it. You know what I mean?
But you grew up in a military family. That's how it is, man.
That's what he signed up for. Yep. And that's what I had to learn, that it's nothing personal. This is his way of earning a living to put food on the table for us, to give me everything that I want in life. So, something that had to be traded. There's always, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I got to learn that, at an early age. But to be able to have that moment with him was, I'll die, and that'll probably always be number one. On my list.
No, I get it. And mine kind of leads up to your number one as well. My grandfather was a military man. He was very reserved, quiet. We didn't really have much of a relationship until the 1991 season. And if you listen to Andy Burroughs podcast, his fan podcast.
Who?
Andy Burroughs.
Oh, the guy who says little
Andy
Burroughs
podcast, a DC tweet team.
DC tweet team. Okay, we're good.
I spoke about this at length.
My accent is horrible, by the way.
I built a relationship with him through that year. He had season tickets, and I got to go to 4 games as a wee little lad. And that year was so special to me, and I hold it in my heart for my entire life. But at the game versus Detroit, the seat cushion game, I was there with my granddad. I was there during the opening game. We went and we built a bond because of the Redskins, and to top it off, them winning the Super Bowl. And then I mixed my Super Bowl stats up. It was Gary Clark and Art Monk at the 1991 year Super Bowl 26, where they had him is the exact same stats, and both like 118 yards and a touchdown exactly. And Mark Rippon just tore it up, man. He just
That's
tore
why.
it up.
That's why I got the Rippon jersey, in which you
Yeah.
can't see. I have the Ricky Sanders, the Gary Clark, and the Art Monk
Oh,
autographs.
man.
I mean,
they were so amazing. It was what was it, 37-24. You know, I think it was Buffalo's fourth year in a row going to the Super Bowl, and we just dominated them. And my grandfather died about a month after that season, after the Super Bowl. So it's something that we've just built a relationship during that year. I think when you become that age, maybe it's your time's coming up soon. And I was always close with my grandma, but just he just never really said much. Whenever we were over there, we'd watch football games and he was just there, but during that year, we got really close, and it was real special to me.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was our top 5 ranked moments. If you guys, you listeners out there, have anything to add, you can definitely hit us up on Twitter, and we would definitely expand on those rankings. But now we're going to move on to the top 5 worst moments.
I mean, if you've got best, you need worst,
Yep.
because I'm telling you, for 25 plus years, there's some fucking worst moments in there. I don't care how rah you are. We could have Hog Farmer Chris on here, and I'd expose his ass, because I know for a fact he's got some worse moments.
Oh yeah,
he's just not willing to share them.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to start off this one. Okay. You started off the best moments. I'm going to start off this one. As you noticed during my best rankings, I didn't go with like particular games. I went with more situation, but I'm going to start this one off with a particular game. Coming in at number 5 in my all-time all-time worst moment as a Redskins fan is when we lost to the fucking Detroit fucking winless fucking Lions, snapping their goddamn 19 motherfucking game losing streak. Done.
I love the passion.
That fucking pissed me off. God damn it. Who fucking loses to the fucking hapless Lions? Keith, go ahead.
My number 5. This was not a game, sir. This was signing fucking Deion Sanders. Fuck prime time. All right. Fuck that shit. I was so mad. I was mad as shit when this guy came, because again, here we were signing guys past their prime.
Oh yeah.
For 1, 2, it wasn't even necessarily.
Didn't he kind of start the ball rolling of the shitty signings? Was he one of the first shit, like the high profile of shit?
Yeah. Quite possibly.
I think that wasn't that when Dan Snyder just acquired the team?
And they signed this guy. He's past his prime. A lot of his years, were great in Dallas. I don't want this asshole over here, right?
Yeah.
And I just never liked him. Listen, he was talented, but he again was one of those just annoying ass shit talkers. Like, dude, we know you're good, right? But we love Darryl Green. You know what I mean? And like, I don't need you. Even though, and again, when he came, he had a shitty start. There was one game where he did make a difference, and I literally just closed my eyes when he ran that punt. It was against the Bucks. He ran the punt, I think, to the 20-yard punt return to the 20-yard line. We kicked field goal, won the game in overtime.
Yeah.
But I closed my eyes. I just couldn't stand the dude. I couldn't stand him.
No, I hear you.
So that's number 5 for me.
I got, man, there's so many moments on here, man. It's hard to rank these, just letting you guys know. Number 4, Joe Gibbs retiring. and I'm going to lump both times in with that. I suppose it sucked, man. It really sucked. He didn't get to finish what he set out to do on his second stint. I didn't want to see him go. I don't think many fans did. But that was a shitty moment, really, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever felt that way. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I love Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I was that desperately upset. I mean, I don't know. But that's interesting.
Joe Gibbs, in my family, Joe Gibbs was God.
Yeah.
I mean, he was my family is just nothing but Redskins fans. And when Joe Gibbs, when he came back, it was just like, hail Gibbs, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off.
No. And when obviously, he had his race team and everything, and don't know if that had much to do with it, but Joe, he was getting older, obviously, and the game changed, but it still sucked, man, because like I said, Joe Gibbs was God in this family.
Yeah. So what's interesting about Joe Gibbs is I actually never met Redskins Joe Gibbs. I actually met at the time when he was in racing.
Yeah.
And Tony Stewart. So the Home Depot car.
Yeah.
Was under his racing crew at the time. I actually this was in Daytona. I worked the Daytona 500. I was lucky enough to actually watch the race right behind where Gibbs and the team were, at the pits. Gibbs was an interesting fellow, watching him on just him viewing the race. It didn't look like to me that he talked a whole lot. He was really quiet. Then afterwards, which is interesting because they had a cooler, so they kept asking me to hand them drinks. So I was their drink bitch. And so I met Kid Rock through this too. And Kid Rock was there the whole time. And funny enough, on Kid Rock, I used to think the guy was super tall. Nah, he's short as shit. And I'm like, God, that looks like Kid Rock, but that looks like a miniature version of Kid Rock. And then what gave it away was he had a Kid Rock beanie. And I'm like, okay, so that's definitely Kid Rock. So here I am handing beer and water to these guys. But anyways, Joe Gibbs was a quiet, reserved guy when I got to meet him and shake his hand. And that's just the nature of his character, I guess, but so that's it. All right. So I'm carrying on.
No, go ahead. You're
number 4.
Yeah, we're at 4.
Number 4. So number 4, Monday Night Massacre versus the Eagles, where Vic destroyed us. I believe that was the game.
Yeah. It was Monday night. Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson. They all destroyed us. Was that when Chip Kelly first came to the league?
I think so. Yeah,
it was. Mm-hmm. It was when they ran that fast-paced offense.
Yeah, they just killed us. It killed us.
So of course, you always remember, where you're at and what you're doing. And I was actually on a old work event down south in Miami, and man, I was talking this whole game up. I was excited. In fact, it was a big deal to me because, again, my girlfriend, now wife, Eagles fan, man, I was talking it up. I left the bar where we were all hanging out that night, went into my room to watch the game, and that was the worst decision I could have ever have made.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed to come out the door the next day to go to a meeting. And sure as hell, everybody was, talking their mess because, a lot of them were, Dolphins fans and shit. So, but yeah, that just absolute disgusting fucking game that I'll never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was fucking pathetic. It was pathetic. I think I never turn games off. I think I turned that game off.
Yeah.
I never, but I distinctly believe, I think after it was like halfway through the fourth quarter, I was like, you know what? I'm done. Couldn't do it. All right. Number 3 for me. And this is kind of hindsight now, after the fact, because we didn't know at the time how it was going to turn out. Daniel Snyder purchasing the Washington Redskins. Some owners have some football knowledge. This owner doesn't, and still after the 20, almost 30 years he's owned the team, still doesn't know anything about football. And likes to try to make football moves. And that's enough said on that, I think.
You know why? You know why I like Daniel Snyder?
Why?
Because all of you hate him.
Oh God.
Every single one of you hate him.
Jesus.
And so therefore,
Look, I don't know
makes
the
me
man.
like
I just
him.
think he's a shitty owner, and
Sure.
he I don't think he's a good human being from if everything that we hear that's true. I just think he's just a parasite.
Makes
to
you
be
look
honest
into
with
his
you.
eyes and say, Mr. Snyder.
I
don't know, man.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah. No, fuck. I don't know, man. If I was like a million trillion billionaire, y'all might be calling me Mr. Gray too.
Oh
I'm just
God.
saying. Yes, Mr. Gray.
Number 3 for you, Keith.
Number 3.
Mr. Gray.
Number 3. I like Daniel Snyder. Fuck all of you that hate him. RG3 injury versus the Seahawks in that playoff game.
Yeah.
Man, we were going somewhere, bro.
Yeah.
We were riding on a high horse. Listen, you know, a lot of people go a little crazy and they're like, we were Super Bowl contenders. Maybe, you know, but that was going a little too far. But man, we were doing well that game. And then to watch our guy who just gave us the most exciting season in many, many years go down the way that he did.
Yeah.
That hurt. That hurt. And that to me, I think is why I really stand for him, because I did want to see him. I love a good comeback story, man.
I'm right there with you, man. Just look, I that season was on my rankings, you know, because it was special. He was special.
Yeah.
To see that fucking play, to see that, I mean, and it's all started versus the Ravens when he initially, you know, banged his knee up, because he wasn't healthy going into that playoff game, you know.
Yeah.
Who was that that big Samoan guy, I think that was Haloti Nada, I think, when you saw that knee fucking like wrap around him when he got tackled.
Yeah.
And then he missed the Browns game, I think. And then when he came out during that signal, he wasn't 100%. We all know that it wasn't 100%, but I mean, we were up 14-0, I think, during that game, and it was like, we're gonna make a fucking run, man. You know?
Yeah, that was a tough one, man. That was definitely tough, you know, because like I said, you don't see a lot of guys come back from that type of injury. And I mean, he had a couple in college. So it was devastating, you know. That was, I think, the first year where you could be on top of the world. And don't get me wrong, he wasn't lighting the league up with stats during the season.
No, he just had
electric. He had that
electric.
7-run table, you know.
Yeah.
They ran the table on 7 games and just, you know, he made plays at the right times.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's interesting.
He had what Kirk Cousins lacked, and it was kind of like a killer instinct type of deal.
Correct. You know, it's interesting because a lot of people will trash me and be like, why do you even have RJ3 signature? Why do you take away all the personal stuff of conversations that I've had with the man? I've got the man's game 1 rookie year cleats against the Saints, which I was at that game.
Yeah.
Right. That he played in. I got his cleats. He signed the shit out of those cleats. Beautiful signature.
I got a picture of him doing the griffining, you know.
Yeah.
I got that picture somewhere around here.
I actually put that picture in with the cleats.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't care what anyone says. You label the guy a bust all you want. I'm not going to go. I mean, obviously his career didn't go the way I'm sure that he wanted it to, but at the end of the day, he was still a Redskin, and he provided us with some happy moments.
Sure.
That
absolutely
we haven't gotten in a long time. And let me tell you, that's why I think people hopped on the Heineke bandwagon, because you want to see the leader of your team create and do things the way that Heineke did. Well, that's what RG3 was doing too.
Yeah.
He wasn't lighting the league up, but he was making plays at the right times and winning games. So
100%. Yeah.
There we go.
Agree.
All right. Number 2 for you.
All right. Number 2 for me, the end of RFK. And this goes back to my grandfather, you know, just going to games there. It was such a special stadium. It was dirty. It was decrepit. It was ranky, but that motherfucking place was rocking. And when I say rocking, I mean that literally and figuratively. That fucking stadium shook, and opposing teams hated to play in that stadium. And of course, we had to get rid of it, or not necessarily get rid of it. It's still technically there, but we had to go move into a bigger stadium, in a shit stadium at that. But the end of RFK, still holding out the small beard hair of hope that we could come back to it, but it's probably unlikely.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I never had the opportunity to go see a game at RFK.
It's such an experience, man. It's
cool.
it's hard to really put it in words. It's just one of those, you had to be there moments to really experience the feel of a fully sold out stadium. And you just don't see those at FedEx Field. You know what I mean?
True. Well, they were winning in RFK.
That's true. That's true.
All right, number two for me. Right, we're on number two.
Number two.
I have a feeling this one's going to be your number one.
Probably.
Sean Taylor Duff.
Yep.
That's your number one?
Yep. That's my number one.
Figured as much. I battled these two, my number one and number two, but Sean Taylor Duff. I mean, again, I knew where I was at when that happened.
Yeah.
I don't want to act like that I cried tears, because I didn't. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, I followed Sean Taylor, Clinton Portis. Clinton Portis is where I got my handle from, KG Skins 26.
Yeah.
Clinton Portis was my guy. Santana Moss, those three guys, in college. I went to, the Hurricanes versus FSU Seminoles games a lot. It's just that was back when both teams were, good teams. It was a sad moment because I knew that he died for no damn reason.
Yeah.
His life got cut short. He had a family. That I think made me sad the most, to know that, he's not here, to be with his, family. And then after that came football. So
yeah,
I'm not holding the same regard to Sean Taylor's death like some other people will. I do feel that a lot of people are like way above and beyond. It's okay to be upset about it. So I'm not really going to trash people for how they feel on it, but it is what it is. But that's my number two, because that shit sucked. We watched someone who was growing in front of us, because he, his first few years in the league, I mean, he was known as, the asshole.
Yeah.
And you started to actually see him mature, and his maturity was actually making his game better.
Yeah.
And boom, this happened.
That family, his daughters helped, help him grow into a man. And that's not my number one, Sean Taylor. It was an awful moment for me. I remember exactly where I was at. It was a hard pill to swallow. That's for sure, because of the potential. I mean, he'd be a Hall of Famer. I mean, sure. He'd be set, within the next couple of years to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. That's how good he was getting. I mean, he was pretty much already at that point. And like you said, you saw him grow into it. He was just getting to that point as a person, as a player, and having the family, helped him get there. I mean, he came into the league, he was very, very quiet, but he kind of had an attitude about him that you really couldn't tell him much, teach him much. He was going to play how he was going to play, but as time went by, you saw the growth in Sean Taylor. And I mean, I was at the game versus Buffalo, and when they went out into it, I'm not ashamed to say it, I cried. I was with my wife at the time. It was a very surreal moment, and it was sad. It was respectful. It was a it brought fans together. It was the right thing to do, even though I think Buffalo probably should have took a knee. And so, that's just my opinion. It was an actual real play of the game, so I can't really fault them too much. You know, but ripping off a run like that, it didn't necessarily rub me the wrong way, but it just kind of felt like maybe they could have done something, too. Maybe like a 5 or 8 yard pickup or something like that instead of, ripping off a big run like that. But yeah, no, that's my number one, man.
Yeah, and I'll have to tell you, I'll be honest with you. Again, not to sound like a asshole that didn't care because I didn't cry. Because I didn't cry. If I would have been at that game around other Redskins fans, right, I would have held on to that same energy that people were giving, and the same thing. Got to remember, I'm living in Florida in a garage. Okay, I've never met the man.
Yeah,
okay? He's not a part of my family, so therefore. I just lost my dad too. Okay. Well, hold on. Let me rethink this. He died. My dad died. So I just lost my dad. My dad died in February.
Yeah.
Right. And then what? He died
was in November. Yeah.
I didn't have any more tears to give anyone else.
No, I hear you. No, that's no one's going to hold anything against you for that. It's understandable.
Yep. Number one for me on the top 5 worst moments. Believe it or not, the name change. I'm not even going to get into it because there are some things that I want to say on the topic that we're going to get into here in a moment, but it's a good lead in.
Yeah.
To the topic. Actually, so I'll go ahead. I'll just lead into it instead of.
Let me pause you for one. I have a 5A rank.
Okay, go ahead.
Jim Zorn, the hiring of Jim Zorn. Okay. The fucking, we couldn't find a goddamn coach that would want to fucking coach our team. So they hired a goddamn coordinator. They hired Daniel Snyder hired a coordinator, right? Still searching for a head coach. And why would you hire a coordinator first in the first goddamn place? It just don't make no sense. But since no one else would take the fucking job, they bring up Jim Zorn, and we all know the fucking swing gate play that he did. But anyways, go ahead with your segue that I totally ruined.
No, you didn't ruin it because I totally I agree there needs to be an A there. So yeah, name change. So with that being said, obviously anyone who has listened through our top 5 best and top 5 worst, you hear me talk about memories with dad, that's the reason, because in my heart, and I felt like not only did I lose my dad, but now I'm losing something that my dad is the reason why I'm a fan of this team name. And so with that being said though, right. So everyone knows that I've made that very clear. Okay. Sure. How were you feeling, Jesse, at the moment we knew the name was retired?
Disgusted.
Yeah.
Hated it. It will never ever sit right with me, no matter what the new name's going to be. It's not going to sit right with me, but I'll be damn sure.
How do you adjust?
Huh?
How do you adjust to that though? Like, because I keep hearing the same thing. Like, they'll always be Redskins, but they're going to change to a new name, so their identity may be different than what we have known it. Right? That's a possibility.
I think what we might need to hold on to is our colors to help.
Well, we are, but
to the kind of keep the past in place. But this ain't going nowhere for me. It's not. My Redskins gear is going to stay, and I'm going to wear it out in public until there's still threads on this thing. It's not going anywhere. It's still going to be in my heart.
The name is still in the practice bubble.
Yeah. I mean, they're still Redskins to me. Yeah. And it's just how I have to look at it, because I'm not going to treat this as a fucking like expansion type team name. It's not gonna. It's not. And you can't look at it that way because they are still our team. Unfortunately, it's just going to be with a different nickname. They're still Washington. I hear people saying that they're. I heard this the other day that they're gearing up that they can move the team somewhere. The team's not going to go fucking anywhere. If one of the radio hosts, local radio hosts in DC was saying that they could be gearing up to possibly make a move. That's not going to happen. They're going to be DC. They're the Washington, what the fuck evers. But they're still the Redskins, and they will always be the Redskins. Because no matter what the name's going to be changed to, that's what our memories are, and that's just the way I'm going to look at it. I'm going to call them by the new name, obviously, but this shit ain't going nowhere. This fucking logo, it's not going nowhere. This shit's going to be on my wall. This shit's going to my kids. That's hopefully going to go to their kids when I die.
Yep. So my then and now. So my then, everyone knows how I feel, so I don't want to get too deep into that. Obviously, I was disgusted as well. I was pissed. Yeah. I hated the fact that social media was actually showing them tear it down.
Yeah.
I would have preferred
that rubbed me the wrong fucking way.
Oh, you better believe I gave my insight on that as well. Wasn't a fan of that social media person who was behind that anyways. But anywho, no one cares about my opinion on that. But I was pissed off about that. And of course, the initial it'll always be Redskins to me, was there, right? So what's interesting is my thought process hasn't changed on how I feel. I honestly back then decided, like, you take this away from me, I've got nothing. Yeah. I don't know if I could even be a fan of this.
I mean, those thoughts ran through my mind too.
Those are, again, emotional reactions.
Yeah, exactly.
It's human. It's human. Where I stand now, someone, and I wish I could find the tweet to give them the credit for opening my eyes a little bit, was, here's an opportunity, right? Because my whole thing is my 10-year-old, he's a lost cause. He's an Eagles fan. I'm not going to win that one.
Damn him. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn him. My 5-year-old, though, he's a daddy's boy. Yeah. And he's been saying Redskins since he was 3 years old.
Yeah.
Right. I got to explain to him that they're not called the Redskins anymore. Like, he's 5. He's not there yet to understand.
Yeah.
Right. And I live through my dad, I guess, is why I was so attached to the name. Maybe with this new era, this gives a fresh chance for me and my 5-year-old.
Sure.
To do something different, to where I'm not having to live through my dad. I'm actually allowing my 5-year-old to live through me. And I'm okay that this is happening. As you can see, I'm not fighting with Red Wolves guys.
Yeah.
I have my opinion. Like, I think half the names are all bullshit and goofy as shit anyways. I don't care how much you try to put history behind it. Red tails can fuck off. Warthogs can fuck off.
Oh God, don't get me fucking started.
Warhogs can fuck off.
That's the new thing. The warts and the warhogs. No, fuck
bro. It's not even new. That was shit that was talked about when this first happened too. What happened was, Jesse, is the Red Wolves movement totally clouded all that other bullshit. And the Red Wolves movement is just like went crazy. Yep. And honestly, it wasn't that crazy until Fred Smoot started endorsing it. But anyways, did Fred Smoot get back to us yet?
No, not yet. He messaged me that one time and said yes, he's coming on, but we haven't been able to get a hold of him again.
Yeah, well, he's gonna hear from me, man. If he gets on this show, he's gonna hear from me on that Red Wolves movement. But I'll have fun with him, because that dude ultimately is a fun guy. But anyways, all those names are bullshit, and the only thing that I keep thinking is Jason Wright knows mainly, and he said it many times, they want to incorporate to make sure that we don't lose the team's history. Yeah. I feel like in the end, everything is going to get put together to where we can still have that history we'll still be able to, in our minds, say Redskins, but adapt to a new name that not all of us are going to agree on, but we're going to learn to deal with, right? And at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, is the way that I see it. So I'm pretty much, as long as the name isn't goofy as shit. And here's another thing. The man said he's not going to slap a bird on the helmet and look like a fucking expansion team.
Yeah.
That tells me right there. Well, hold on, Jesse. That tells me right there, what kind of mascot are you looking for then? Yeah. Because you put another mascot, you're slapping a warthog on the helmet. You're slapping a wolf on the helmet.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but no one wants to fucking howl at nothing, okay? Like, I'm not going to go to a game and, this shit is goofy as fuck. And it's not even original. Like, just be original, even if it's generic. Just
you know what I want? It's at this point now, I'll be happy with just Washington football.
I agree.
Just
drop the
football.
Team name and make it Washington football.
Yeah, just Washington football.
Well, and there's people that fight that because they don't like the generic shit, but you know,
it's not necessarily generic. It's unique. No one has it.
It's a slap to cancel culture because it still gives us an opportunity to say Washington Redskins. So that's where I'm at now. If it doesn't end up being that, I'm not going to go jump out of a window.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just going to look at this as a new opportunity for maybe my son and I to have something different than what my dad and I had.
Yeah.
And I hope that it works out. That's it.
Yeah. No, I get everything that you're saying.
Hey, I'm gonna flip a light switch on while you're
good. You know, with the team name, man, it's for me, it's I don't want it to be goofy. I don't want it to be Warriors, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people want it to be Warriors. I know they do, but that's a name that I don't want it to be.
That's
I got my reasons, but I just think it has to have something to do with the actual area that the team's named after. You know, it's Washington. It's got to be something. You know, the Capitals are the Capitals. You know, Washington Capitals, the Washington Nationals. It's DC area. It has meaning to the DC area. So, I mean, I don't know what's left. It's not the monuments. The monuments are going to come. That'd be probably stupid, but I'd be happy with Washington football at this point. I don't want to name it after I don't want it to be FC Washington or Washington FC like Kevin Sheehan likes to say 50 fucking million times.
I know.
It's just annoying. I don't want to copy your soccer leagues, I just don't want it to be Warriors. And I think that's the most generic name that it can be, to be honest with you. I think it's lazy too. And I get
it's less lazy than Washington football though.
I mean, sure. I mean, of course, this is just my opinion. Okay.
Of course.
It's bland for me. And I get people, the military, we can do so, but we do a lot for the military as is. I
agree.
We really do. And so does other teams. And now my fucking dogs are going off.
Duke, we were trying to finish up a professional.
Omega are fucking barking.
Shut up, Duke. We're trying to do a professional program here.
But yeah, I just think, no matter we can honor the military. We honor the military all year round, to be honest with you. We always have.
I agree. Listen, I grew up military, man. Yeah. It's been my whole life, but and against no offense to any member serving or who have served, but I can leave that out of football, to be honest.
And look, I get it. I get why people would want it. I do, but I think there's plenty of honor in the military with football. I think there's enough.
And I guess for me, Warriors, if you look at the logo on our helmet, we have pride for Native Americans.
It can be construed as a Native American, it really can. And
well, Native Americans, in my opinion, were warriors.
Yeah,
right. And
what I
so
mean.
that's kind of why I would be okay if it's warriors, because it relates. I know a lot of people are like, it's so generic. We already have a basketball team. Who gives a fuck? I mean, okay, so that's a basketball team, Golden State Warriors. Who cares?
I just think we can. I think we get more unique. I think it could be something different.
Well, I think what you have to do is what they're doing is you have to now create your culture, create your name.
You got to create a brand, man,
under what you represent.
Yeah.
And right now they represent Washington. We've always represented Washington.
A lot of people didn't like the Titans, when it came out. I love that name. I absolutely do. It's different,
Well, Tennessee Titans, Washington Warriors, it does flow.
It does. No, I'm not saying it doesn't flow. It definitely flows.
I get what you're saying though, but I feel like if you do any other mascot, that's like slapping a bird on your helmet and you're an expansion team, because your identity is totally different. Yeah. How can you keep Redskins history being warthog? You know what I mean? Like,
good God.
Right.
Every time I've seen this has come up lately. Like, it's come up with the four. Of course, we've seen every name thrown out there known to man, but lately this warhogs and warthogs. Why would you want wart in a fucking name? It's ugly. It's fucking ugly. Shut the fuck up.
Warhog is worse than Red Wolves, in my opinion.
I mean, shit, man. Come on.
Is it the end of the world if the team becomes Washington Wolves? I don't think so. Right. I'm also, there is a Native American connection. I will give it that, if you're talking about spiritual.
It is. And it's brandable, especially to the young folks.
But here's the problem. People are going to treat it as some young folk goofy shit. The Howling, calling it the Wolf Pack, the Den. Like, to me, it's not new and creative, right? If we're changing something, and I'm not saying I have the answers to this by any means, right? This is just my opinion, that if we have an opportunity to change this team's name, let's come up with our own stuff. That's the only thing that I ask. Like, retire, hell to the Redskins. No more HTTR. Like, first of all, let me just be honest here out in the public. I never ran around and be like, HTTR. I never did that anyways. You very rarely seen me say it in tweets either. I get it. I mean, hail the Redskins. I would rather say that than HTTR. Or I used to laugh at these new draft picks. Like, they can never get it right.
They can
hell to the Redskins, the Redskins.
HTT to the Redskins.
HTTZ, bro. Drafted number 15, drafted number 6 to the HTTZ. Like, these fucking idiots. Like, they can never get it right. But anyways, I just be creative. And I think that that's what it is with these young kids, is you have an opportunity to be creative and you're not. And you're pushing this dumb shit. Even Fred Smoot pushing that dumb shit. Can you imagine when they score a touchdown? Fuck you. I'm not doing that. I didn't even sing the goddamn fucking song. I'm not gonna.
I'm gonna get Keith the big ass foam claw, fucking, so you can hit the big old fucking wolf claw, so you can fucking cheer on your Red Wolves as they score touchdowns and you howl at the fucking moon.
Woof. All right. So,
hey, on cue.
Yeah. Woof. Duke. This is a professional broadcast.
All right. Moving on. What do we got left?
All right. Well, the last thing is, so news dropped today. Just quick. I'm interested in your opinion, Jesse. I know you weren't on Twitter all day today, so you kind of don't know what's going on, but Jason Wright and the team put together an opportunity where fans can go and vote. They can vote for themselves. They can vote for anyone who they think would be a good fan brand ambassador, to a couple different categories. I'm not going to get into the categories, but do you think that this is overkill at this point? Do you think that they're trying to do too much?
It's doing a little bit too much there. I think we get it. They're trying to be a little bit more transparent or open it up to the fans, and I respect that. But I think we're all ambassadors. We all want to carry the brand, help carry the brand, whatever it's going to be. I think it's a little bit too much. What do you think?
I think I won't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Because I understand. I know a couple months ago, my thing is look, names changing whether I like it or not. So I either gotta suck it up, pull up my big boy pants, but I want to find a way to put a small fingerprint. Hey, and listen, I know all other fans do too, but listen, you got to fight for what you want, know, and people aren't trying. I am.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that I'm in Jason Wright's DMs, because I'm not, right? In fact, Jason Wright actually, he talks to a lot of people actually. So, again, I don't want people to think that I'm.
And I love that. I love that he's opened himself up, and look,
this is not exclusive to me when I say this.
They're trying to open it up, and I love that. But as far as like picking, nominating people, we kind of went through that a little while ago,
right?
And it didn't really work out. There was an issue, if you know what I mean.
So I think what people need to understand is this brand ambassador thing. I don't think they're not the ultimate decision makers. What this is it's like a focus group.
Sure.
They're asking for a couple hours of your time each quarter, right?
Yeah.
And you're giving ideas. Doesn't mean that your ideas are going to be going to the table. I think people need to relax a little bit. Everyone would want this opportunity for sure. I get that. But for me, first of all, Jason Wright followed me. I didn't follow him. He followed me, right? Then I figured, how am I going to take advantage of this? Now, again, this is not exclusive. He talks to everyone.
Yeah.
Right. But he reached out to me, and he then DM'd me out of nowhere when I tweeted that I wanted a small fingerprint, just a small, give me a small fingerprint to cope with what's happening and to be able to give my opinions on some things that I would like to see incorporated with this new era. Just give me that opportunity. That's all I'm asking.
Sure. It's not too much to ask.
Not too much to ask. Now, did I ever think that it was going to happen? No. But he did reach out to me. He told me some things. I kind of saw this brand ambassador thing coming. Did not know it was going to be like this, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the idea was put out there that this was going to happen. And I'm not really going to push for people to vote for me on Twitter, because listen, everyone wants to vote for themselves, because this is something that everyone wants to do. You could sit there and say all day long, like, no offense to Andy, but Andy's like, fuck it. This is going on too far. He's not lying. He's telling the truth.
Yeah.
But his opinion might be slightly different if he lived over here in the States and he had the opportunity.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that a lot of people but what people also need to understand too, though, is even though and maybe I'm wrong on that now that I think about it, because a lot of the work that they're doing is not going to be working together. It's all going to be remote computer related. So maybe I take that back. Sorry, Andy. I mean, he's right. He's not lying. So my opinion, it might be a little too much, but listen, I'm going to find every which way I can.
Sure. There's nothing wrong with that.
To put my fingerprint if they allow me to. Now, but here's the difference. Let's say I'm not reached out to. Let's say, they didn't feel that I was right to, that it was necessary for me to give my opinions. Okay. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm not going to go on a 3-day rampage and, trash and call people shit because I didn't get what I wanted. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, it's not even like that, because I guarantee you one way or the other, Jesse, the way the type of person I am, my fucking fingerprint is going to be somewhere on this new era. It just may not be this, but it may be something else. Yeah, and I'm going to put myself out there. I will annoy the shit out of Jason Wright. I don't care. But this is the only way that I can really cope. Cope's a bad word.
No, and I think I get
football. It's just football. Like, cope is not the right word, but this is the only way that I can maybe
deal with it.
let go.
Okay. Yeah.
And move forward.
Yeah.
It's still be proud of what we were with my dad.
And that's
create
essentially
something new with
coping.
my son.
It's essentially coping with it. Yeah.
I know
mean,
it just sounds silly because
Yeah.
cope could be used at
yeah.
better things like, hey, I was a drug addict for 25 years and I stopped smoking weed and I'm coping with it. That makes sense, but I'm over here fucking 41-year-old man bitching and complaining about a football team name. You know how stupid I feel sometimes? I'll wear a Redskins shirt out to the grocery store.
Your heart wants what your heart wants, man.
I know, but I'll be at a grocery store, right? And I'll have a guy be like, hey, well, how about those no-namers? And I'm like, no-namers. Oh, that's so funny. Never heard of that one before. Like, that's the stupid shit that I don't want to deal with either, But I'm like, and as the dickhead has an Eagle shirt on. Oh, no-namers. Oh, but Eagles, that's so cool. Fuck out of here. All right, anyways, that's my rant.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
So Jesse, real quick, I know we're running out of time, man. We've been on here, but something that we haven't done yet, and again, we're not going to do this every podcast, so I don't want those podcasters out there to be like, oh, they're stealing our material by doing fan questions.
Yeah, we got some in.
Get out of here. I don't care. I'll steal all your shit, motherfuckers. What are some of these podcasts doing? I'll steal it. We're Rio. Where's the? I'll steal all your shit. What are you gonna do? Fight me? Meet me at the red zone lot.
Red zone lot, bitches.
Red zone lot, bitches. I ain't gonna tell you what I'm driving though. You're gonna have to come motherfucking find me. But anyways, fan questions.
All right,
Jesse,
what we got? What we got?
So I got a couple. At first I started off with I was like, all right, let's just pick the best one and talk about it. But there was actually a couple good ones that I think we can answer quickly.
Okay.
All right, so let me pull it up.
Go ahead. Keep going. I'm just grabbing something.
Yeah. Pet
right.
Duke or something. Give Duke a treat.
Trust me, I've given him. He won't shut the fuck up. Hey, don't get him started.
I know. I was just gonna say that. Get him started. All right. So this question comes from our man Andy. Hey, he was the first one to respond.
Oh, sorry, I stole that from another podcast.
That's of course Andy Burrows from the DC Tweet Team podcast.
Andy.
Put
another shrimp on the barbie. Wait, that's Australian.
Yeah, that was bad. At Washington FC UK, which is funny because I always think it says Washington.
Me too.
Washington FC UK 1. If you guys have not heard his podcast, go listen.
What the fuck are y'all doing if you haven't listened to the DC Tweet Team podcast?
Listen, love the other podcast, but Andy has been always giving us support, man. So as long as he continues to give us support, I'll show him love all day.
Absolutely.
All right. So his question, Jesse. How would American NFL fans feel if us over here in the UK got a full-time franchise team in the NFL? He believes it's going to happen within 2 to 3 years, in his opinion.
I think it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be in that time frame. It depends on what franchise moves over there, unless it's an expansion franchise. If you have a franchise like Jacksonville, those Jacksonville fans are going to be pissed. I mean, pretty much.
St. Louis Rams didn't care when they moved to.
They don't get. Yeah, the NFL don't give a shit. They care about one thing, and that's the color green. Yeah. And fucking, that's just the NFL. Unless it's an expansion team, I would feel more bad for the players than anything else. Right. There are a lot of fans over in the UK, man. There's a lot of fucking fans over there, and I think there needs to be a team over there, at least one, if not two. I mean, I'm being dead serious. There's so many fucking fans out there. When you see the stadiums when teams go play over there, they're full. Mm-hmm. They're fucking full.
Hey, listen, the funny thing is they got rugby. A lot of the UK has rugby. I know it's Australian.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For years, man, people were saying, with American football, they wear pads, So to have guys from another country be interested in a sport that we have over here, and absolutely give them a team. Yeah, give them an expansion team. I agree with that. I don't think you should move another team over there.
Yeah,
give them an expansion team.
That'd be tough.
But hey, I know Andy listens to the podcast, and I don't know if he'll listen to this show, but so I'm going to ask him a question. we could do a podcast to podcast question.
All right.
Right.
What we got?
Andy, what if the UK does get an expansion team? Right now it's in your country.
Ooh, I know where this is going.
Who do you follow?
Yeah.
Are you still a Redskins / WFT, or do you follow this new team that is now in the UK that can, give your country now an identity when it comes to American football? I think that's a great question.
Balls on your pitch there, Andy.
Yep. So Andy, next podcast, man, don't just answer away on the podcast. That way I can listen in and go from there.
That's a good question.
All right,
Good
Jesse.
question.
Next question. This actually comes from Rio.
Okay.
At Rio Robinson.
We love Rio. If y'all haven't heard his podcast, he is fucking great.
I mean, love is a strong word.
Well, okay. All right. He's got some energy.
See, Rio.
I don't always agree.
Oh, yeah, strong energy.
I don't always agree with what he says. But of course
Rio will tell you to fuck off and not care.
Exactly. And I love that.
And
I fucking love that.
I love that too. Rio would love to argue with me. And in the beginning, and I was like, man, is this guy going to figure me out? Like
he's got a man crush on Mac Jones. And I just don't agree. I don't agree with that at all.
I say, hey, Rio, meet us at the Red Zone lot, bitch. I know you got season tickets.
Got it.
Yeah. You like Mac Jones. All right, then meet us at the Red Zone lot. We
got
them all lining up. All right, Rio. Where would you prefer the location of the new stadium to be? And what upgrades, amenities would you expect in the stadium?
I fucking want RFK. I mean, that's hands down. I think that's the spot. I live in Southeast Virginia. So yeah, I mean, it would be cool to have it somewhere in Virginia, north of Richmond or something, but I would rather have it in DC, straight in DC. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't mind where it's at because it only takes me 2 hours and 20 minutes to get there.
And it only add probably maybe 10 minutes to your drive time anyways, because FedEx Field is not far away from where RFK is.
Definitely not in the bottom of Virginia where Richmond is, in my opinion. I know that's where they go for
training camp. Yeah, see, I'm only 45 minutes away from there.
That's a 4-hour drive for me, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to get up at 4:00 in the morning.
I don't think they would ever come down as far south as that, but
it's too far from where they're actually represented.
I'd rather just not be in Virginia. I want it back in DC where it belongs.
Upgrades and amenities, honestly, most of us like upgrade seats, like big seats bigger. I don't know. Like, I don't really care because of most of the time, especially in lower bowl, most of the time people are standing up.
Yeah.
So there's not really a whole lot that I would say, that needs to be adjusted there.
I think they should have stacked stadium seating. And what I mean by that is your stadiums, your overhangs, they're farther over, maybe a little bit steeper, farther over. So you're a little bit closer to the field. For those people who sit up in the nosebleed section, the 400 section, that's far away, man. It is. And there's designs I've seen them. You can still fit the amount of seats in there, but have a better view of the field.
Lincoln Financial is like that. I didn't go for an Eagles game, but I went I got free tickets for a Monster Jam.
Yeah.
And it's like that. It's scary as shit, though.
Yeah,
when you're up there, but it does give you
FedEx
a better
Field
view.
Is even a little freaky when you get up there. You're up high, man. You really are. But you can design it to where it is a little bit freaky. But
listen, I don't want the inside to smell like piss, right? When you're walking around trying to order food and shit. Like, I don't want that to smell like piss. Yeah. Let's upgrade our bathrooms. A little bit to where it doesn't smell like a fart shit factory.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And listen, just better food established, better food places that, that you can have more options. Mm-hmm. And of course this isn't going to happen, but at some point, man, they got to lower these prices.
Oh yes.
For some of the shit. It's too much, man.
Arthur Blank at Atlanta, they're doing it right over there, man. You can get like a $4 beer. That's reasonable. Food's not crazy. They're doing it right. Snyder's money grubbing shyster,
Yep.
I think, and maybe if we start winning and the seats get filled, maybe that will change. I doubt it though. But yeah, food prices could be
I don't think it'll ever go down. I think
Probably
it's
not.
always going to go up, especially if you get into a new stadium.
I think last
they're gonna
time I
increase.
bought it was like a $12 or $16 beer.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that.
I think if anything, I mean, if you're not going to lower the food prices, you got to do something about this parking.
Yeah.
Because $80 to park in the orange lot is just fucking ridiculous. I mean, the cash lot was like what, 55?
Yeah.
I mean, and you got to walk 2-3 miles, something like that. Like, if I don't know, man, just the parking is outrageous.
It's
and it's like when you tell people, like, you go to a game, you're not just spending 150 a ticket, and I'm just throwing that number out there, but you also got to take into consideration just the fucking parking,
Yeah. Oh, it's a headache. It's a fucking headache.
And honestly, for people like me, where I've got to pay, I think it's a total of $28 in tolls there and back in total, to pay for that. I mean, by the time you buy one piece of merchandise, which I try to do at every game that I go to, that's a $400 or $500 day.
Oh yeah.
$400 or $500 day. And, so it's like, it wouldn't kill them to lower the prices on the parking.
Agreed.
But anyways, all right. And so the last question, this was at someone who tossed out, not my favorite question, no offense to him. It's just, again, it goes back to the draft, but I felt that it was worthy to ask. This comes from DMV Sports 3 at sports3_DMV on Twitter. Most important position to fill if the draft was tomorrow. Good question, because he's basically like, all right, so we don't have free agency stuff that we can do right now.
Yeah. I would say linebacker 100 times out of 100, because we don't have just one position to fill. We have two of them. And
so what linebacker are you going with?
I'm going with Xavier and Collins.
Are you?
Do you
think he's better than Jock?
Yes, for what
I've been doing some research.
For our defense, absolutely. I would take him 10 times out of 10 times for our defense. Jock is one of those hybrid, kind of almost a positionless player. We need a strong middle linebacker, and I don't give a fuck if y'all think Collins is a Sam or a Will. That's not true. You're not watching this fucking tape, period. He is a fucking middle linebacker. He can do it all. He can fucking do it all. And we need that quarterback of the defense, period. He's smart. He's fucking 260 pounds. He's fucking fast as hell. He can cover, and he's got fucking hands. That's what you need in a fucking middle linebacker.
I'm thinking they better draft a fucking linebacker. You're going to lose your goddamn
mind. I will. If they don't draft one in the first 2 rounds, I'm going to be pissed, because I think linebacker is priority fucking number 1. They didn't do anything to address that in free agency. Nothing. And I'm sorry. I'm fucking sorry. John Bostic does not need to be a starter. Period. He is a backup, and that is it. It would be an okay quality depth. That's it. He is not a starter. The linebacker position, it'd be different if we just had one position to fill, but we don't. We have 2 of them. Cole Holcomb is our only starter.
Yeah,
we have 2.
I think a lot of people too. I think a lot of people get stuck on the 2 ways that you draft, either BPA or based on need, but you can kind of do both.
You can do both, man.
Yeah,
you can do both. You take the best possible player at a position that you need at the value of that position that you're picking at, basically. We could need a left tackle, but I listen, and I've been hearing some things about Darrisaw too, things that make me kind of go back just a little bit. I know we might need a left tackle here shortly. I don't
think at 19
Cornelius Lucas is not Trent Williams. He's not Chris Samuels. We get it. But you know what? If we have to live with him another year, I'm perfectly okay with that. He played well enough to do that. Okay. We also have Shaquille Charles that could also kick out. We drafted him last year as a left tackle to be our left tackle. Yeah,
Listen,
they kicked him inside because of need.
Yeah, I guess I've always been a fan of you can do both. Right now, we need a linebacker. I agree with you 100%. I think at 19, that's going to be your best chance to get a top 3 linebacker.
And we can even if we
your top
trade back a couple spots if we need to, unless Micah Parsons is available, then you take him at 19.
I know a lot of people are saying they don't. And again, this is just Twitter, but just
he probably won't be available, but there's a chance.
But then I think you do have, Jock. I think you do have Xavier Collins. I think you do have we talked about this earlier.
Jamin Davis.
Everyone loves. I call him Jammin just because Jammin Davis.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's on the market, when Twitter's wild, man.
It still kind of baffles me a little bit, man, because like I said, he was a 3rd round prospect.
All my mock drafts
pro day.
Yeah, all my mock drafts though, my strategy was to draft at 19 linebacker.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't care what quarterback was available. I was sticking to the whole linebacker situation. And what I would do is if there was, a top wide receiver left, I would actually draft that wide receiver. So I'm going BPA at this point.
Yeah.
But then fall back to position of need and next round, at pick 51, you would still have, Davis, potentially there, Jabril Cox, you would still potentially have there. And mind you, again, I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. This is just from mock drafting, but I can see why people like to do it because you do learn from it.
Yeah, you do. You get an idea of.
I just wish all of you would shut the fuck up.
Oh,
like after a couple weeks of this shit, I want to lose my mind. I want to fight everybody. I want to tell Adam and Neba, let's fight out in the red zone lot. I want to tell our guy George, that he was a guest on our show a couple weeks. Let's fight in the parking lot because y'all are driving me nuts with this shit.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
I understand why they do it because it's fun to them.
Back to the question though, we could find quality linebackers all over the first 3 rounds. To be honest with you, I agree. And I'm gonna trust what Ron and company are going to do, but.
They saw what they had in Luke. They know what to look for.
Yeah. If not only Luke, but even Thomas Davis in his prime was a great linebacker too. And don't forget that both JDR and Ron Rivera were both linebackers in their day. So I think we're going to be all right. But if we don't target in the first couple of rounds, I'm really going to question it because they're major holes in our defense. If we clamp the defense up, man, and make it elite. Okay. It's not elite. A lot of people say that this defense is elite. It's not there yet. Okay. We are pieces away, but it has the nucleus to be something great. And we get our quarterback of the defense and fill in the rest with the leftover. Cause there's a lot of free agents that are out there, not linebackers per se, but free safety. We still need to start in free safety. Okay. We still need another cornerback or even 2 for depth. But this defense is close, man. This defense is close. We did a lot of work in the offseason on our offense. Let's shore up this fucking defense and then we'll get our quarterback when the fucking quarterback comes, whenever we get it. They got a plan. They just don't have a timetable for the plan. And I stole that from JP Finley. I know Brian Rivera has a plan. There's just no timetable for it.
Stop stealing shit from him.
Sorry, I thought it was good. I was like,
no, I mean,
sense.
I get it, but fuck
yeah, it makes sense though.
Just kidding, JP. Not really, but just kidding, JP. Not really.
Anyways, I think
JP, I'm just kidding. I'm really not though.
Holy shit, we went way over our allotted time.
It's okay.
That's okay. We had a great podcast, guys.
I think so too.
For Keith, you got anything else?
No, man, I have nothing. I just wanted to give again a huge shout out to the people who have subscribed to the YouTube channel. Appreciate the support on that. Everyone who is continuing to listen to us two fools talk sports, talk football. Again, we're just fans with opinions, and we're here to voice them. And I also want to just finish up and say thank you to everyone who had donated to the Ron Rivera charity that I'm about to drop. Just that total amount was $51.39. I am going to use some of that for shipping though. I did forget to tell people. I mean, maybe I don't. Maybe I just pay for it. It's going to be expensive to ship, but either way, $51.39 was the total amount for that. So that's going to be presented to Ron. I'm going to print out a receipt, put it in the envelope. The envelope's going to go in the box with the boxing gloves.
Sweet.
It's taken a lot of work because Paul's taking his time on this one, so I need people to remain patient.
That's okay. That's okay.
Projected time of finish is not going to be until the end of May. So
okay.
But it's okay because, like I said, at the end of the day, everyone has a life. He's got to do what he's got to do, and again, he wants to make it right. So I'll continue to throw teasers out there, which is kind of strange, man. It doesn't seem like people are, as hype as they were in the beginning. Kind of sucks. I wish people would, kind of, get a little bit more hype like they were. But I mean, we've been talking about this for months, so I understand as well. So shout out to everybody that was a part of that, and I can't wait to get that going. And create some excitement for something cool that we all did.
Cool. I got a shout out to our boy Scott Hartley from over in the UK. He gave us a he nominated us for the ambassadorship. I saw that earlier today. So a huge shout out to him. He is awesome. We're gonna have to get him on the show one time, and dude's not.
I'd love to have him on. Yeah.
We're gonna get you on, Scotty boy. We definitely will. We'll work out a time. But
good shout out. He's a good guy.
Yeah. For myself and Keith, that's going to be it. You can check us out on pretty much all platforms, and definitely check us out on YouTube. You can see Keith's goofy ass reactions to the different things that I say, and vice versa. And then you could also catch Keith at KG Skins 26. I am at JESSYS24 on Twitter. You can also catch Keith at the Red Zone lot during home games. And I'll get you his license plate as soon as it's available. So
it's my wife's.
But
hey, listen, Jesse.
Yeah,
we ain't got to go home, but we got to get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right. Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time. Hail to the team.